Welcome back. Good to see you again. So, in our previous interactions, we covered two research paradigms, positivism and post-positivism. And if you remember, positivism is more about one single reality, objective reality. It is already there, whether you are aware of it or not. You go and uncover those realities, and in that process of uncovering those realities, you have a detached perspective to maintain your objectivity. Now, today we will talk about another paradigm which is very different if you compare from what we have covered up to now, and this is called social constructivism. Sometimes I forget the spelling of social, like the small, simple words, which doesn't like everybody remembers. So SOCIAL. If it is wrong, I'm sorry. So let's think from these key drivers of research paradigms. The nature of reality. In social constructivism, they say that reality is socially constructed. We as humans are social animals and relational animals. So the reality is socially constructed based on our interaction with the people around us. So that's a key assumption in social constructivism, that reality is socially constructed. So as humans, we talk to people around us, we interact with people in our environment, and in that process of interaction, we generate knowledge and we understand our reality. So we create a reality based on our interaction with the people around us. Let's take an example. If you ask a child about their experience of being, let's say, in a high school. Now, this experience is going to be based on this reality of being in a high school is going to be grounded in the child's interaction with that environment. And that include maybe environment at home, his interaction with teachers, his interaction with fellow students, interaction with administration. So the reality is created, generated based on the interaction. So the key idea in social constructivism is the reality is socially constructed. Since reality is socially constructed, it is subjective. So one child's experience of being in a high school is not going to be exactly same with another child if I ask the same question to another child. So unlike the positivist and post-positivist approach, which is more tends towards the reality is objective, and you go and uncover those realities, social constructivism says the reality is subjective, and this reality is constructed based on our interaction with our environment. So the reality is subjective. So these are the two fundamental beliefs under the nature of reality ontology under social constructivism. Now let's focus on the second question, nature of knowledge. How, so reality is created in the process of interaction, socially constructed in that process of interaction with other people. So how do we understand that knowledge? How do we study that knowledge? How do we generate that knowledge? That's a question of epistemology. And they say since knowledge is subjective uh, and it's co-constructed, and that's why it's very important that to understand the knowledge, the researcher needs to be actively engaged in that process. You remember in our previous two paradigms, we have this stance of uh, detachment. So the researcher is sort of detached in an effort to achieve highest level of objectivity. Here they say this doesn't work. You have to um, you have to be actively involved in that process. And when you are talking to your research participant, in that process of engagement, new knowledge is generated. So let's say if I want to understand, uh, let's say, women's experience of miscarriage. Now, the reality, the experience is not like one reality that I can go and objectively observe. Social constructivists say that you have to understand this reality, to understand the experiences of women with this experience of miscarriage, you have to be actively engaged in the process. So, no detachment, no objectivity. And in this process of engaging with the research participant, we create new knowledge. So, coming to the third point of values and ethics, in qualitative research, which is primarily, I would say, driven by constructivist philosophy paradigm, that we as researchers are very open and we actively engage with our participant in that process of generating new knowledge. So let's recap what we discussed. What is reality? Reality is socially constructed. It is constructed based on our interaction with our environment that include both physical reality as well as the people around us. So we interact, and in that interaction process, we generate new knowledge, new realities. And since it is based on our interaction with the people around us, this knowledge is not objective. One person's experience with one phenomenon is not going to be exactly same with another person. So, so the knowledge is, the reality is subjective. And to understand and explore and create new knowledge regarding those realities, we need to be engaged in the process when we are engaged with the process with our research participant, and we cannot claim that we need to be objectivity. Objectivity is not going to lead us to understand the phenomena or create new knowledge. So knowledge is co-constructed, and we as researchers are actively engaged in that process of knowledge generations. So that's briefly about social constructivism. Thank you.